Well, it's always a pleasure to have our security director, Tim Moy, and he is here with us today. And Tim, welcome. Glad to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about a few different things, and we're going to get an update of the gates, and they've been working on those great systems they're putting in. We're going to talk about traffic a little bit, really driving and a few little accidents that have happened in the village, and crime statistics here in the village as well.
Absolutely, right. So earlier in the month I did a presentation in front of Village Management Services, the board, and along with them there were members of United, Third Mutual, and GRF, just to see what's, the update on what's taking place in security, how the gates are rolling so far, especially with that gate access project.
Yeah, and those have been big projects, and gates 3 and 7 have recently reopened, which is great news.
Right. So we, of course, we had 5 and 6 from the very get-go. That was our pilot, and then
that's when I
2
first
and 8.
met you. You remember that?
That's it.
You were on
we
the
were out
job
there
for like a week.
And they put me out there, and we were talking about
the
gates and how it was going to improve security, and it has actually. But with 3 and 7, things are going well. We're looking at gate 3. We just a minor little hiccup out at gate 3. The guest lane obviously is for the guests. The second lane is for our residents, and the third lane it does show buses and trucks on the road because those big the big buses come through there and turn around to pick people up to take the trips. But when the number 2 lane backs up, residents are allowed to use that number 3 lane. So we're going to change the markings on the road for our residents. But one of the things we've noticed is that residents they're law-abiding. They stay in that number 2 lane.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
You can certainly go over to the number 3, and if the first lane's open as well, you can take that lane as well.
Okay, so number 3 lane will have RFID access as well?
It does have RFID.
It does. Okay.
And so residents can use that lane as well. And as soon as the roadway dries up enough, we've had a little bit of rain, we'll add residents to that as well.
That's good, because I know in a recent, a couple of the board meetings, some residents have gotten up and asked about that. They're over in the far lane in some of the gates, and they don't realize, well, this particular gate isn't opening for me, even though I have the tag, whatever it may be. So that's good.
Yes, and sometimes it's just a little issue with an RFID, that radio frequency identification. Decal.
Can be dirty or whatever it might be.
And but for the most part, each of those far lanes do have the system set up so that they can just breeze right through.
We're showing this here, and you sent something up that about 80% of the vehicles that are equipped with it. And you're getting more and more residents signing up?
We are. There's a pretty steady flow coming into resident services. 80% have signed up. That's great. But 20% still represents a few thousand vehicles.
It does.
So we need those owners to come in. Now again, it's not mandatory, but it sure is more efficient. And you don't have to go through the guest lane as a resident to show your ID or show your decal, because
that's much better.
It is, and if for those that don't, sometimes they get behind a guest that we can't find them in the computer. It delays your entrance.
They're asking for directions, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
So this is over here on Carlotta, and this was the first gate that was operational, I believe, right? This is 6.
Absolutely,
And, it's, what an improvement.
It is. Again, the whole thought behind that is, one, is let's secure this community. Back in the day, we had a report that was conducted, and they said that this community, a private community, is porous. Right. We don't want it to be porous.
No, we don't want that.
And this is the first step, and it's been very helpful.
Yeah, and a few more gates are on the way, and eventually all
1 and 9 is underway right now. And unfortunately, a little bit of rain. I'm not sure how much that's going to slow us up, but Ernesto Munoz and his team do an incredible job with maintenance. I think they've scheduled about a 4 to 6 week project on that. So I know, and gate 1's a busy gate, and so I know people have to go around.
Keep that in mind. It's closed at the moment. You can get out, I believe, on 1 lane.
No, you cannot.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that is only for golf carts and pedestrians.
Oh, okay. Because I noticed, I passed by there, and I actually saw a golf cart coming out.
Right. Exactly. So we allow them to come through. through gate 1, but other than that, you have to use 2 or 3, and 2 and 3 are open 24/7.
Right.
Gate 4 has gone back to the regular time of 7 to 7.
Okay.
And it's an exit only.
All right. I think gate 1 maybe another couple this week and next week. I think it's been 2 weeks. Well, of course,
Right.
the rain again.
It depends. So we'll see how.
Right.
You never know.
I'll try and stop that rain for you.
There you go. You just never know what you're going to find when you break ground, though.
No.
And they start doing some work, and who knows what they'll find.
That's
but,
true.
Again, the maintenance team is doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's talk about crime statistics
Yeah.
here in the village. You know, we're thought of a pretty low crime area,
Very low.
very low.
Right.
It does happen, though. now
It
and then.
does.
Yeah.
This is a small city. You
Right.
know, we've got a lot of guests coming in, and not all guests are law-abiding. Our people are I would say, very comfortable here. Sometimes they don't lock up their cars.
Right.
They leave things unattended, and you know, we always encourage folks to, you know, hide it, lock it, or lose it.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
got to take that extra step. And so the type of crime we do see are minor thefts for the most part. I think we had 2 vehicle break-ins earlier in the year, but we haven't seen any type of residential burglaries or anything like that. It's usually a grab and go. Somebody
Right.
sees a battery charger, they see believe it or not, a hose, a plant, things of that nature get taken here. They're pretty
You know,
petty.
that's a little frustrating, though.
It is.
Somebody, it may be, this is my favorite plant. I've
Right.
nurtured this plant.
Right.
And somebody took it,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Right.
really?
Those are, you know, many times it's a neighborhood dispute as well.
Yeah.
You got 2
Yes.
neighbors not getting along, and this is one way one neighbor gets
Yeah.
out another, and that's we do have a little bit of we categorize it as malicious mischief
Right,
here,
yeah.
but technically what that is, it's vandalism. There are occasions when someone will vandalize someone else's property, their car. You know, and so then when that happens, we bring the sheriff in, let them
Right.
investigate it, and hold people accountable for their actions
Yeah.
as well. But I can tell you that overall, it's one of the top 2 communities in southern Orange County.
Yeah.
That is the safest.
Yeah.
So
Good to
very
know.
very low crime. We don't have serious crime, as you know.
Right.
And so what crime we do have is generally minimal.
Yeah.
And we continue to work with the Sheriff's Department when something does occur.
Right, you do.
You know, we've got a great relationship with them. Matter of fact, I'm going to be meeting with the captain of Southwest Investigations tomorrow, on operations, excuse me.
Okay.
So it's just good to maintain that relationship with our first responders, our law enforcement partners, our fire personnel as well. So things are going well in
Very
that
good.
aspect. Yeah.
So let's move on to traffic accidents. And, you know, with those, there have been a few major ones here. And I think it's, you know, you've talked about this before. We're not saying there's a whole bunch, but there's
Right.
been some. You brought along some photos of that. Quite often it's just people who are lack of attention
Sure.
or let's face it, as we all get a little bit older, our attention drifts a little bit
Right,
more, and
right.
or you know they run a stop sign.
Right. Well, and our ability to react
Right.
diminishes with time as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, but our drivers are also a little bit older and wiser. And
Yeah.
they're driving for, you know, many of them 50,
Yeah.
60 years.
Right.
So they're also very smart drivers. However, as you mentioned, you know, we've had a few serious accidents this year. For the most part, they are minor fender benders. I did show a few pictures.
Bring those up.
So we've had a few where people have just taken turns too quickly.
Yeah.
Hit the gas instead of the brake. You know, every once in a while that does occur. We've got a picture with the vehicle upside down.
And I looked at this, and my first thought was, normally that occurs if somebody's going pretty fast and they hit
Right.
a curb and they pop like
Right,
that. But
right. This was an odd one. It's,
Yeah.
the driver accelerated, making a left turn, ran off the road, hit a tree, and then flipped over. Thankfully, our driver was fine, and the tree survived as well. So, you know, for us, it's just be careful out there. And if you're a pedestrian, you know, because we have so many walkers, just
Right.
be vigilant, be careful, stay on the sidewalks. You know, just make sure that you give way to any driver or vehicle.
right,
coming
and
by.
you know, you've often talked about this as the folks who work in other divisions about people who park on the sidewalk
Right,
and things like
right.
that. Of course, Ray is a big one that
He
brings
is,
this up.
right.
And you know, he often talks about how you may not think, a lot of times people do it thinking, oh, I want to get out of the way of the traffic.
Correct. Sure.
And you understand that, but think about the people
Absolutely.
who are walking along the sidewalk. They may be, have some kind of mobility device
Sure.
that they need, and
Right. Yeah. Now, out on the roadways within the village, it's those are raised sidewalks.
Right.
In cul-de-sacs,
Right.
it's just concrete,
Yeah.
and it's visible. So just what you're saying, some people will try to get off that main area to allow vehicles to get by, but they block that sidewalk area.
Yeah.
And therefore, someone in a walker has to go around, go into that area, into the lane of traffic. And yeah, Director Gross is one who's very quick to identify and try to promote the fact that, hey, we've got to provide that lane of access for our pedestrians
and people
are
will be
disabled.
sighted. Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, we do. Absolutely.
All right. You want to talk about a new community service officer?
We do. So we have a new, we call him a CSO, doing a great job for us. It's kind of a jack of all trades. He's out enforcing, those the dumpsters, the electric vehicles, the contractor vehicles. As you know, both the boards feel very strongly about keeping our contractors, because of limited space, limited parking. They can drop their gear off, but then they've got to go park out on the roadway and reserve those parking spaces for guests and others coming in. And so he enforces that. He works with Manor Alterations to make sure that our contractors are posting their permits. And there's any other thing that goes on during the day, anything that the boards are looking at. If I met with a board member yesterday who complained about a contractor that was doing too much work right in the area where people are coming and going. And so we'll work with Manor Alterations on that, but that position is basically the arms and legs, the eyes to get out there and do some of the work for Manor Alterations, and then get that information over to them. So yeah, we've got it's a great position for us, and if there's anything else that comes up during the day, we just assign it to him, get out there and take a look at it. Our officers are out there helping residents. This allows us to take care of some of the administrative issues as
And
well.
if anybody is, you're going to be doing something on your residence coming up, some sort of construction, you've got your permits, you make sure you go through all that. If you have questions, call them. Call security. Just say, my contractor's coming over. I want to tell them the right things.
Sure.
And they'll help you out with that.
Actually, we have a flyer, and Manor Alterations does a good job as well. When you obtain a permit, they give you all the rules and regulations and explain it to you. But we're also the backup for Manor Alterations. And absolutely, they can call security.
Yeah.
We'll be able to answer the questions.
Yeah.
Sure.
And speaking of security, you got some initiatives underway?
We do, quite a few initiatives. We took a look at our traffic school and we wanted to bring that up to date, make it more relevant to our residents. So we've attached a PowerPoint to it, letting our residents know why we do what we do in here, why we have people out enforcing the traffic rules. This is private property.
Yeah, it
Sheriff's
is.
not out here. Sheriff is not going to conduct traffic enforcement. We do that. Unless it's a misdemeanor or a felony, a drunk driver or a hit and run, they'll look into that. Friendly visitor program with
it's a great program.
Outstanding, and Susan McInerney and Social Services has revamped that.
Yeah, they're working with the county on that.
They are. They're doing
good.
She's got some contacts throughout the county. She's brought in a lot of resources here, doing an outstanding job. And then with compliance, we're looking at some things as well, our database. And when we look at our internal processes, the purpose of that is to create efficiencies.
Right.
Those efficiencies are going to provide better service to our residents here, and that's our goal.
Yeah,
So
very
looking
good.
at quite a few things, right?
All right, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good. We just, the summer's coming up.
Yeah.
And so, we'll have a lot of people on vacation, but a lot of people coming inside the village. So we just need to make sure that our residents are doing what they can to be safe on the roads, to lock up their property when they can, and that hospitality factor of when you're coming and going. We all want to do that, but at the same time, let's do it safely as well.
Yeah, and let's remind folks, you still have the program that they can give a set of keys to security.
Absolutely.
Which is a very good idea.
Right.
Quickly, we haven't talked about that in a long time. If you can take a minute and tell folks why that is important.
Oh, absolutely. The basic one, some people just lock themselves out of their manor.
Yeah.
And so they just need to get in. Others, it's a welfare check.
Yeah.
if someone falls out of bed or if they have some type of medical emergency. We want to get in there and check on them as quickly as possible. Hey, of course, the fire department's going to come if necessary, and they're going to do their part. They'll break that door down if necessary. But when we have a key and we have authorization, we can go in and check on the welfare of our.
So very important.
Oh, absolutely. We've had a few instances over the last 18 months where we were able to go in, find a resident in need of assistance.
Yeah.
And then
it's a good safeguard.
A very good safeguard, absolutely. Occasionally we'll get a call from a family member.
Right.
I haven't heard from my father in about 2 days. We'll go by, we'll check to see, we'll call, look to see if the vehicle's in the carport, and then go and make contact. And if it appears that something is just not right, if we can determine that there is potential for an emergency, we'll go in.
Yeah, good program.
It is a very good program.
All right, sir.
All righty.
Thank you.
Good
We'll see
seeing
you in about a month again.
All right, we'll see you in a month.
All right, you take care, and we'll be right back.